Posted.
Yeah.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There's a question.
Where is the question? Okay, what are the funding agencies? At the national level, you have Indian Council of Social Science Research. The head office is situated in New Delhi. In other states also you have the branch offices, but then it is better to write your proposal to the head office because the grant amount is more over there. Whereas in the respective states, you have their office, but the grant amount is very less. So that is one thing that you need to take into consideration. And then for each university, the university that you belong to, all the universities will have the possibility of funding you for your research projects, whether in language or in literature. Like, for example, I belong to Mumbai University. So Mumbai University also has a provision for granting funds of provision for accepting proposals in the field of literature or language. But then again, the amount, the funding amount is not such a huge amount. It is quite nominal, but nevertheless, it definitely helps you to go ahead with your research. You have the DST, of course, but then it is related to science and technology. But then if you are associated with linguistics, so linguistics is considered as a science. So the certain aspects in linguistics, for example, when you're talking about cognitive psychology, or you're talking about natural language processing, or you're talking about the different neurolinguistics. Okay, so definitely you can apply to DST as well. But then DST doesn't take such topics throughout the year. It is only whenever they advertise for these kind of proposals, then there is a possibility that you can apply in this in DST as well. The funding in DST is very good, but the selection criteria is very difficult. It is not an easy task for your proposal to get selected. You have to be very thorough with the background, and moreover you need to have adequate publications to your credit when you are applying for a DST funding. So that is very important. Even for ICSSR, they demand for an adequate amount of publications, and then only they give the funding. Otherwise, they normally do not give funding to people who do not have the required publications. So that is a very important factor that we need to keep in mind. So before even writing a proposal, we need to first of all gather our publications. We need to publish our papers in reputed journals. Either it should be in UGC CARE or it should be in Scopus Index. So ICSSR clearly mentions that your publication should be either in UGC CARE or in Scopus Index. And even in DST, they insist on the Scopus Index journals. The publication should be in Scopus Index journals. So that way you can go for applying. These are the only agencies available in India, so far as I know of. There are other agencies, international level. There are many agencies, but then we are not allowed to give the proposals to those kind of agencies. The one agency that I know of at the international level, that agency also has stopped taking proposals from India. So then we have to look for other agencies. ICSSR is open for collaborative research proposals, collaboration with other countries, but then we should be able to find out somebody from the other country, from the specific country that ICSSR has collaborated with, and then we can write a proposal on the basis of that. I hope I've answered this question.
Ma'am, there is a question on can we publish our PhD thesis, or can it be converted into a project proposal? And are there any permissions that need to be sought?
Sorry, what is the next part of the question?
Do we need any permission to publish our PhD thesis as a project proposal?
PhD thesis, you cannot take it up as a project proposal. You need to, you can take the main idea and you can extend the idea. You can make modifications in that particular idea. You cannot take the exact idea and convert it into a project proposal because you have already, it is already published. So you cannot repeat the same thing. But you can take the idea and you can extend it. You can make it into something different idea, a little bit different you can make it, or you can try and bring in more of, your data collection, try and expand your area where you're collecting your data. So that can be done. And our proposal was shortlisted by SCSSR and budget meeting was held. What will be the next step, madam? Okay, your proposal was shortlisted by ICSSR. When? It is a 50-50 chance of getting project. Please share your experience in getting project. Sorry, when was your, could you please unmute yourself, Ashwini? Ashwini, madam, could you please unmute yourself? You can unmute yourself. I think the participants can unmute themselves so I get a better understanding of what exactly the information they want. Is it possible for the participants to unmute themselves and ask question? No, ma'am, you cannot participate. No, but you have written over here that your proposal was shortlisted by ICSSR. When was it shortlisted? Which year are you talking about? This year it was shortlisted? Excuse me, ma'am, can you allow Ashwini to unmute herself?
Yes, ma'am. The participants are allowed to unmute themselves, ma'am.
But Ashwini is saying that
ma'am. This is
yes.
Ashwini, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It was shortlisted by this year, ma'am. The meeting was held a week ago.
When did you submit the proposal?
It was 6 months back, ma'am.
6 months back. It was under the research project proposal?
Yes, ma'am. 5 lakh budget.
Okay, okay. Oh, it was a minor research project.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Did they advertise about this proposal? I mean,
yeah, ma'am. We saw in the website.
It was, you saw in the website. Okay.
Yes,
so once you have been shortlisted, so then they have called for a meeting, right?
Yes, ma'am. Budget meeting was done, ma'am. But they said that it will be announced later. So is that a chance to get, or kind of?
It all depends upon what kind of budget you have written, because the budget meeting was held means they must have approved the solution that you have provided, or they must have approved the proposal that you've written. But now they wanted more information about the budget part. That is why they have conducted a meeting with you all. So then you have to find out how appropriately you have to written the budget. What are the categories you included in the budget?
Just one research assistant and research supervisor, ma'am. That's it.
Research assistant and
research supervisor.
You wanted a research assistant as well as a research supervisor?
The research supervisor is the head. Under them, research assistant was needed, ma'am.
Okay, so you did not ask for anything else? It was not a field study?
Yeah, it was a field study, ma'am. It was about refugees in Tamil Nadu.
Okay. So no, but you did not talk about the traveling expenses and all was not included in your budget?
No, it was included, ma'am. We just asked for one research assistant alone.
Okay, but in budget, you have to include all these aspects. You have to include the traveling part. You have to include, the institution. The institution also should get some overheads. That also should be included.
Yeah, so that was included, ma'am.
That was not included because
that was included, ma'am.
That was included?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So because you said only about the research assistant, you did not mention this. You have to mention all this also, that how the books that you require, suppose if you require any journals or articles, or how much amount you would like to spend in traveling, you require any equipment. So yeah, all these aspects you have to deal with, all these categories. And it has to be an extensive, it has to be well explained, the budget. If it is well explained, then your project will definitely be selected. So in the meeting, what did they ask? What questions did they ask? Did they ask specifically
Only about the budget, ma'am. Specifically about the budget and how will you, what are the methodologies you will take, like that they asked. Just for 10 minutes, the meeting was held, ma'am.
Okay, so I think they will accept your proposal.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah,
That was my question, actually.
Yeah, they will accept. See, that the topic, they're more concerned with the topic actually. What is the topic and the solution that you have, what problem you've identified and what is the solution that you have provided. If they're satisfied with that, a little bit here and there with the budget, they can ask you to modify also at the later. I mean,
yeah,
that is not a problem. I mean, congratulations,
so
madam.
much,
That is really good. That is really good.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Hi, I'm Dr. Shanti from Malaysia.
Okay,
I just want to check, is there any chances for us to do, to get a research grant to do the collaboration studies? Is there any chances?
There are chances. It's not that you cannot do it. You can do it. There are chances because ICSSR goes for collaborative studies, collaborate with many countries. And there are, schemes in ICSSR. When you go to ICSSR website, there are many schemes provided by ICSSR.
Right.
So, yeah, so there is a chance you can go for collaborative studies.
So how I need any context, which person to
that is a difficult part.
Send our proposal and
that is a difficult part actually, because ICSR will not help you in that, to find the contacts. You have to find out the contacts yourself. So maybe you can write to, some of the universities, and you can write to people. You can go to the website, you can find out, the detailed information of the person and write to them and find out if they are also interested in that kind of studies. And that is how you can collaborate. Sorry, there's a lot of disturbance actually.
Yeah, it's not from here. It's not from here.
There's a lot of disturbance.
Request all participants mute the mic.
Yeah. Please mute yourself, all of you, because there's a lot of disturbance. I cannot hear. Yes. Yes, ma'am. So that part, you have to take the initiative of finding out, with whom you can collaborate. You can write to them. You can go to the website to the particular universities, and you can write to the. You can see the profile of the teachers, and accordingly you can write to them and see if they are willing to collaborate with you in terms of research. It becomes slightly difficult if you don't know the person. I understand that.
Ma'am, there is a question. Name some of the funding agencies for language and literature, ma'am.
Language, I've already said, it is ICSSR. ICSSR does not give funding for literature. ICSSR gives funding for language. ICSSR gives funding for anything related to environmental issues, to social issues. So literature, of course, you have to go to particular universities. ICSSR will not give funding related to literature. Specifically to literature, that funding is not given by ICSSR.
Madam.
Yes.
Hello, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am, and thank you for a very nice discussion. Just I have a query. That a project, ICSSR project was sanctioned to me, and I completed all the formalities and even submitted the write-up also. But still I'm waiting for the reply. I have not received any reply, and that's why my final submission is remained. So can you just guide me? I communicated to them. They just answered me to wait for the expert's view.
So that will take time, madam.
I submitted in last July 21, ma'am.
Yeah, it will take time. Sometimes it takes a year.
Okay, and
but they will definitely respond, because it all depends, like they should be able to identify the expert who can review your final report. Okay, so that will take time, to identify the expert. I think because of the pandemic, because of the situation, they're not able to find an expert. So that is why the delay, but they will definitely get back to you. So that is not, it is nothing to worry about. They will get back to you. Yes, anybody else with any questions?
Ma'am, just one question more. That when I receive their view, expert views, what is the process of last submission? Because I have also no idea of that.
It depends upon, what are the views of the expert. Most of the time, the expert, ask you to give certain, justification of the report. Okay. So some additional information might be required by the expert. And so you have to give this additional information. Once you give the additional information, then automatically, the remaining, the amount of the fund will be granted. They will be releasing the remaining amount of the fund.
Okay. And the it is submitted in a binding as we submit like our PhD thesis like this?
No,
it is in that format?
No. They don't require in that format.
Okay, fine. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you so
At
much.
least in my case, they did not require in that format.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ma'am, thank you so much for your awesome energy. Actually, it's been like 2 hours and you are still going on with full energy. Thank you so much. We have to really appreciate your energy, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So can we wind up, ma'am?
Yes, we can wind up. If there are no more questions, then we can definitely wind up.
Question, ma'am. One more question, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I submitted one proposal to ICMR, ma'am, Indian Council for Medical Research, 2017, ma'am. But showing like processing only, ma'am. But till now, I didn't get any message for granting the fund, ma'am. What shall I do? What is the next step I want to follow, ma'am?
You can do one thing. I will see if
Madam, I have a question.
Sir, I will answer this question first, then I will get back to you, sir. Sir, actually, madam, what you can do is when I submitted my proposal to ICSSR in 2013, I submitted the proposal. And it was till a year, I did not receive any information from ICSSR, whether my proposal was accepted or whether it was rejected. No information I received from ICSSR. So, I was also confused, what to do, because every time, the head of the institution used to ask me, what about your proposal? What is ICSSR doing? I had no answer. So then, finally, I decided that, I will take the same proposal and I will submit it to UGC. Okay, that time I thought I can submit it to UGC. So when I decided to submit it to UGC, that time I got a notification from ICSSR that your project has been selected. You have received a grant. So, sometimes it takes a longer period of time. With ICSSR, they go for a double peer review, and therefore it takes a longer period of time. They have to arrange for a panel of reviewers, and then not only once, they have to arrange twice or thrice, and so therefore, it becomes very difficult, for all the panel reviewers to, come at one particular time and then discuss on the proposals, discuss on the solution that has been provided, the idea. And then that takes a longer period of time because it is a government agency finally. So they work, very slowly. But nevertheless, I feel, that at least ICSSR will never say that a project has been rejected. But nowadays, of course, they have become more advanced in the sense, they have started giving information on the website. So whether the results have been declared or not, all this information is given in the website. So we get to know that the results are declared. So if I have not received any notification, that means my project has not been accepted. So I get that notification. So earlier it was not so. In way back in 2013, they had no information that was given in the website. Okay, so that was it. And sir, you had a question, sir. So, madam, what I would suggest is, since you have already submitted in 2017 and you have not got any response so far, I would suggest that if you can submit the same proposal to some other agency, that will be better, because there's no point waiting, unnecessarily waiting for such a longer period of time. But when you submit to another agency, you take care not to, duplicate the same proposal. You can try and make certain changes in that proposal and make it a unique proposal once again. That is what you can do. Yes, sir, you had a question. So what is the question, sir? Hello, sir, you had a question? Hello, I think someone had a question here. I hope you can hear me, all of you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
There was a question. Are there any questions written in the same chat box? Any other question? The doctor, there is someone, like Pradeep Kumar, who wants to unmute himself. Maybe he has a question.
Very good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
It was a wonderful session, ma'am. Very fruitful session.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have learned a great deal from your session.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I wanted to ask you two questions, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
One is, how do you advise me to write a research proposal on literature?
Literature. Okay. In literature, like I would feel that, if you go for a comparative study, of maybe two novels, or maybe, two aspects in a novel, in a particular novel, and the way, a particular aspect is dealt with in different novels, you can, compare. A comparative study will be useful. And then, if you can relate the comparative study to the present situation, that will be beneficial.
Yes.
Because to be very honest, I had written, two proposals, not two proposals, I had written one proposal. That was my very first proposal that I had written to Mumbai University, and that was related to literature. Of course, I compared, three novels. And in spite of that, the problem was, I did not know. That was the very first time, and there was nobody to guide me actually how I should go about, like submitting this proposal. And there was nothing, no, relevant information mentioned in the website also. So therefore, what I did was put it in that was a hard copy had to be given. So the hard copy was given by the college itself. The hard copy was sent to Mumbai University. But in my application, in the cover letter, I did not mention, that it is specifically related to English literature. That was my mistake. So when I did not receive any information from them, I actually called, the concerned person, and the person told me, "Madam, what is your area?" I said, "In English literature." "We haven't received any proposal from English literature." That is what they said. So my proposal was just misplaced. It was thrown away somewhere. Maybe it went to some other category, and the person did not understand what I'd written. So maybe that person was kept aside or thrown away. I would say it was thrown away, because it did not reach the concerned person. So then we have to be very particular, that when we write a proposal, specifically, in literature, we have to state over there that this is a proposal meant for the English literature. State the subject. That is very important, because I have made the mistake myself, and I was very disappointed at that particular time. But nothing could be done. So then after that, I wrote a proposal to ICSSR, and that time I was very particular. Mumbai University, I don't know about the other universities, but in Mumbai University does not have a category for linguistics. They have a category for English literature, but not for linguistics. So linguistics, we have to go to ICSSR. We can definitely submit in linguistics, but then, it is uncertain whether it will be approved or not in Mumbai University. So when you write a proposal, first of all, you need to go for a comparative study and find out, the relevance of the problem in the present situation. That is very important. And once you relate it to the present situation, it becomes more acceptable.
Okay.
So,
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Ma'am, second question, ma'am. Could you please tell me a few sample topics on which we can work on in English language teaching to write a research proposal?
There are so many topics actually. Hardly any research has been done in India when you're talking about English language teaching. There are innumerable topics. What I do is, when I have to select a topic, I just observe my students in the class, and on the basis of the observation, I try to find out, what kind of problems they are facing. So for example, when I wrote this proposal on game-based learning, even before that, I had already done experimentation with the problem-based learning. I had done experimentation with the differentiated instruction class. And I found that, I was not able to, I have done the experiment, but I was not able to, get an, desired response. So I wanted to come up with it. I wanted to find out what is it, that the students want. Why are the students, behaving in a very different way, or why are the students not paying attention to the teacher? Why are they not performing well? So then I realized that, they are not doing it because they're so bored of listening to the teacher. They're so bored of, the one-way communication that is taking place. So in a differentiated instruction class also, they're not interested in that kind of, categorization of students, or that type of grouping of the students in the class. And it is not possible to implement it in all classrooms, because we need the setup of the classroom also. So therefore, I thought, what could be done, so that, they can enjoy, they can have fun, they can, feel as if they are at home. So what we do as teachers, we don't allow them to talk in the class. We don't allow them to use the cell phones in the class. So they use their smartphones in the class. We restrict them from so many things. I said, let me see if I allow them to do everything. Suppose if I allow them to do everything, let's see the response. And when I thought of this, I started reading research papers on how we can allow the students to do everything, whatever they want to do. They want to talk, let them talk. They want to have fun, let them have fun. How we can do that? And that is how I came up with the concept of game-based learning. So I would say that when you are trying to do research in your in language teaching, please observe your students in the class. What are the problems faced by your students? Now, another problem that I observe with with my students is they are, as per the curriculum, they are supposed to write a report. Now, we take so much effort as teacher to teach them the format of the report. What is the format of the report? How the report should be written? How the literature review or the background should be written? How you should be able to justify the topic and all, the selection of your topic and so on. We give them extensive explanation on that. And still, the students, they just go to the internet and they just go for cut, copy, paste. Okay, that is what they do. And they do it in such a way that there is no link. First paragraph is not linked to the second paragraph. There is a jumping of ideas. Nothing, the sentences are not linked. One sentence from this research paper, the other sentence from another research paper, and that is how they put it together. So I have identified this problem. So I felt that, I should do something so that, like they are aware of what mistake they're doing, or they know what they are writing. They are forced to look back, go back to what they have written. So when I thought of this, how I could do that. So then I started reading research papers. When I started reading research papers, I came up with the concept that if I, use the concept of self-regulation, if I use the concept of reflective strategies, then I can definitely allow them, force them to go back. I train them in reflective strategies. I train them in metacognitive strategies. And so they are forced to go back to what they have written, to reflect on what they have written. And that could be an area of study. I hope I've answered your question, sir. There are many areas actually. So one needs to observe the students in respective classes and then come up with an idea. I hope I've answered your question, sir.